What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you're having a fantastic Tuesday. It is July 15th, the middle of July. We have 5 days to go until the Dallas Cowboys report for training camp in Oxnard, California. Very exciting times here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, where we have stuff coming out all the time, different live shows, different videos, making sure that you are fed because football season is officially here. I know we talked about it, in different times in the past, but we are on the march. Want to get to 30,000 subs before the season is over, ideally before the season is halfway over. I mean, who knows? Let's dream big. But if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing right here to the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. Like the video. My name is RJ Ochoa. I'm here in every single video. I'm all over the Blog of the Boys universe, writing articles, social, etc. You can follow me individually on social. You see how the links in the description down below also have all my social handles if that is much easier for you. But we're here today to talk about something that is kind of common sense, at least it should be, and it is to really anybody who lives, works, and operates outside of the Star in Frisco. But we're here today because on Tuesday it was announced that the New York Jets are giving an extension to cornerback Sauce Gardner. As you can see here, the tweet from Adam Schefter. It's a 4-year deal, ties into the team for the next 6 seasons. That's because he has 2 years remaining on his rookie contract, counting obviously his 5th-year option season, which would be next year. That all the way obviously goes through 2030. It's the same structure as you see Adam's tweet written here, and length is Garrett Wilson's deal on Monday. Gardner's deal includes $60 million guarantee. Let's take a quick pause there, kind of a record scratch, like that was a horrible record scratch sound effect, but maybe you missed it because you don't follow the New York Jets, whatever. But the New York Jets did give Garrett Wilson a big-time extension on Monday. The Jets have been busy. Now, let's get this out of the way. Very frontal statement. The New York Jets have been an abject disaster of an organization. They have failed over and over and over again. Yes, they've made it to a conference championship more recently than the Dallas Cowboys. Amazingly, at that point in time, current Dallas Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer was their offensive coordinator. We've talked about this till we've been blue in the face, silver and blue in the face even then. But I think that I speak for all of us in saying we would not trade lives with New York Jets fans. Okay. Now, that being said, even that team who we just discussed and described, even that group, even that leadership, granted, it has changed several times over in their own drought. Even that group understands that getting these deals done as early as possible is the smartest way to go about it. Both Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, if it isn't obvious, were first-round draft picks of the Jets in 2022. You may have forgotten. It's a little bit in the rearview mirror at this point in time, but they were offensive and defensive rookie of the year, which is why they had all the hype in 2023 when they signed or traded for Aaron Rodgers, blah, 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 blah. Again, none of that really matters here. What matters is the New York Jets looked at these two players and said, okay, you know what? They played 2 of the 5 money positions. We talk about this all the time. I talked about it in my last video here on the channel. Quarterback, wide receiver, left tackle, pass rusher, cornerback. Those are your 5. Those are the 5 or 5. I was going to say those are the money 5 positions in the NFL. You pay one of those or you play one of those, you get paid. And not only do you get paid, if you are really good at one of those, you get market rate when it's your turn. It was Garrett Wilson's turn. He got market rate. It was Sauce Gardner's turn. He got market rate. When the Cowboys had a quarterback, he got market rate after they tried to, sing and dance their way out of it. When the Cowboys had a wide receiver, he got market rate when they tried to sing and dance their way out of it. Didn't quite happen with Trayvon Diggs because they were smart enough to get ahead of it, smart enough to offer more early on, which is what we've suggested they do over and over and over again. And yet here they sit with Micah Parsons, with Deron Bland, Tyler Smith, not quite in that same situation. I would suggest that George Pickens is somewhat in this conversation, given the leverage obtained by the fact that the Cowboys traded for him, etc. Brandon Aubrey, not quite apples to apples, but you get my point. And my point now is that these 2 players, Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, were both first-round draft picks of the Jets in 2022, like the Taylor Swift song, 2022. Yet the Dallas Cowboys are sitting here on July the 15th, and unless something happened in the 5 minutes that I've been on this diatribe, nope, it hasn't. I'm making sure to check the internet here. The Dallas Cowboys have not taken care of their first-round draft pick in 2021. All right, you can already talk about how they're falling behind the relative pace of the 2022 draft class, and we've encouraged the Cowboys to obviously get an extension done with Tyler Smith, who was their first-round draft pick that year. But you're already way behind because you haven't taken care of your 2021 draft pick. Think about this. Let's put this back up on your screen. All right, this is why you do this. Like, let's unpackage these words all together. All right, let's get to the middle part here. Blah blah. Agreement on a 4-year deal that ties him to the team for the next 6 seasons. The next 6 seasons. All right, let's see here. If I have the whole whatever. No. Where's the Adam Schefter? I'm looking. So 30.1 million per year. The reason you can say it that way, all right, is because it's a 6-year deal. All right, overall, it's a 4-year extension with 2 years remaining on his rookie contract. So the per year amount really is not as devastating or impactful as as it sounds when you're signing the paper. That's why you want to get things done. The Cowboys already lost last year as an opportunity to, I don't want to say prorate, but spread Micah's deal. If they'd given him an extension a year ago, they've already lost last year as an opportunity to put some of that money on. That's what happens. And that's why you end up in these financially twisted pretzel situations that nobody wants to be in. Here's Sauce Gardner's resume in 3 NFL seasons, blah, blah, blah. This is what I was looking for here. The highest paid corners in the NFL on a per year basis now. Sauce Gardner north of 30. Derek Stingley was the first to get there. We obviously talked about that then. J.C. Horn, Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year, by the way. These numbers are relevant, certainly as it relates to DaRon Bland, because if the Cowboys want to lock him down to a long-term deal, it's probably going to take somewhere in this neighborhood. I think that maybe you're rolling your eyes, maybe you're scoffing, maybe you're saying DaRon Bland's not worth that, blah, blah, blah. Again, in a world of market rate, in a world of supply and demand, that doesn't totally matter. But ultimately, this is the neighborhood. It may not be, he may not cross that $30 million on an annual average basis threshold, but it's going to be in this territory. He may not have the house at the center of the cul-de-sac, but he is in the gated community. At least DaRon Bland will be whenever his deal ultimately happens. And look, this isn't even necessarily about Micah or DaRon Bland specifically. The reason that Cowboys fans are upset, or the reason Cowboys fans should be upset about the aftermath of the New York Jets taking care of Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, is because this can be done. If you are truly committed, if you are truly devoted, if you are truly ready to get something done in the name of winning, in the name of football business, in the name of keeping things as clean and as easy as possible, then these things can be done. I want to put this on your screen. This is from my good friend Joe Hoyt, friend of Blogging the Boys, friend of mine. He quoted my tweet. He said, "The funny thing from a Cowboys perspective, there isn't really doubt about these deals getting done. It's a matter of when, not if." This is the part that is really important. From Joe's tweet, for example, as we know, sources have indicated the Cowboys are willing to make Micah Parsons the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. But when? Think about how preposterous this sounds. Like, truly think about it. They're willing to pay him more money than anybody, right? They're willing to literally give him a blank check. So if that is true, wouldn't you want to write that blank check when it can be the lowest value possible? Why would you take the risk of anybody elevating that amount? It's cool that you're willing to write the blank check, but the ultimate thing is that we want you to cut it when it is the lowest possible figure, not because we don't want Micah to have it, because that's the smartest way to build your football team. How do we still have to have this conversation? I think the depressing part, the call it what you want, the negative slant, the Eeyore perspective, is that this proves that they might want to be doing this for attention. And I have fought against, I have pushed against it. I have refused to believe that the Cowboys do things for attention, because they don't have to, right? People are going to give them the attention no matter what. That's like saying, I'm turning the flames up in heat so that the moths will come, right? Like, we know that they're going to be there no matter what. So this just feels like, dumping water in the ocean, to me. That being said, I am forced to, from a flowchart perspective, this means this, this means this, this means that. I cannot come to any other reasonable conclusion other than that, yes, they are doing this for attention. Because if they are willing to make Micah, using this example specifically, the highest paid, non-quarterback in the NFL, wouldn't you want to do that, right? Like, if you were going to buy a house, let's just, and these analogies get tired, right? I'm exhausted of using houses and cars as analogies, because we've had to have these conversations multiple times over the last, half decade now. But if you were going to buy a house and I was your realtor, all right, and you had, picked your house, your square footage, it's got everything, it's located, the property, all this stuff, school zones, right? Like, it checks all of the boxes that you are looking for. And I'm saying, okay, All right, let's get this done. All right, what's your number so that I can approach the owners or the builders or whoever, and I can tell them, I can start negotiating. And you tell me, you say, RJ, I don't really have a number, man. Like I'll just whatever it is, I'll pay it, right? Like, cool. That makes my job a lot easier, right? Now, if that were true, I would imagine that you, even though you've got infinite pockets, apparently, that you would say, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to pay more than anybody, but don't let somebody else, up the offer because then I have to pay a little bit more. Like I'm willing to pay more than anybody else, but let's get that now. Let's get the rate that it's at right now so that we don't risk it rising. I'm willing to do it no matter what. But wouldn't you want to do that, especially if other things depended on it, especially if other roster related matters, financial matters relative to the roster, if those hinged upon it? Again, I generally push back at the idea that the Cowboys use these situations as handicaps as to why they're not able to outfit the rest of the roster. But I don't know how you can logically come to any other conclusion at this point. Again, the Jets are just the latest example. I want to underscore this. The Jets are not the smoking gun. Like, oh man, the Jets just proved this. No, teams have been proving this forever and ever and ever for the last 15 years almost, since the dawn of the 2011 CBA, since the world that it created with the rookie wage scale and all these different things. So this isn't, uncharted territory or anything like that. The Jets did not break new ground. But what the Jets are is just the latest example of, dude, look, watch, in back-to-back days, they took care of first-round picks who were taken the year after you took Micah Parsons, and you should have already been preparing to get this thing done in the spring of 2024, not the spring of 2025, certainly not the summer of 2025. So, again, it just serves as the latest, come on, man, like we're so sick of seeing other teams be forward thinking and be smart and be cunning and be on the cutting edge of roster building methods and techniques. This isn't even a technique. Like this isn't like, we're not, like I feel really stupid saying that. It isn't, we're not saying like, dude, no one knows about this secret passageway. Just cut the corner and do this, whatever. Like it's not some secret. It's common sense. It's quite literally common sense at this point. So much so that the average fan who doesn't consume extracurricular content, and I hope all of you are here, obviously, please subscribe to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, but this is so common sense that you will have a hard time. There are people, don't get me wrong, but you will have a hard time finding people who defend this. You simply cannot. I mean, I posited a moment ago, if I were your realtor, if I was a lawyer and had to defend this methodology, this logic in a court of law, dude, I would be up a creek because I really can't. There's no logic in justifying this, especially with Micah specifically, to use Joe's point that we talked about, where we know they're willing to do this. At least, with CD or Dak, we could, mildly entertain ourselves and say, maybe they're just not willing to do this. No, they have said, we're going to do this. Blah, blah, blah. Well, then do it now. What is the point in waiting? And you cannot convince us that it's anything other than that you want the attention. That is the only thing that makes logical sense at this point in time, and that's depressing. But here we are. We're just, we're your puppets and we're dancing because we're talking about it. And I'm talking about it because it's my job and I feel it's important to educate you. And hopefully this accomplished that. But goodness gracious, be like the New York Jets. That's where we're at, that I want you to be like the New York Jets. How did we get here? I really don't know. But I enjoyed this conversation with you, and I hope you enjoyed it with me. If you did, please like the video. Please subscribe to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. Please tell a friend, all that fun stuff. I'm on social, X, Instagram, Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, RJ.Ochoa. You can like my Facebook page, search for RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on LinkedIn, search for RJ Ochoa. Blue Sky, email RJ.Ochoa, whatever suits your fancy. Really appreciate everybody for taking some time to stop by. It is football season, all right, and this is just the beginning. So I hope you are fed and hydrated and ready, because the gauntlet, the marathon, has begun. We're not even through 1 mile. Like camp hasn't even officially started yet, but we're on the opening steps. We're kind of taking in the scenery, saying this is pretty cool. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll be back, as the week continues to unfold. I hope you all have a wonderful day, the greatest day that you've ever had. You know why? Because you deserve it. All right, see you next time, everybody. Love you.